Welcome to another episode. Today's question is, what is truth and is it same as reality? What is the importance of truth and lie in life? So I'll repeat, what is truth and is it the same as reality? What is the importance of truth and lie in life? Truth is relative to what you see and hear or infer or interpret. Truth is based on thought. Reality is not relative. Reality is not based on thoughts. A detailed explanation we will see. First is from theories of truth and philosophy of logics. So Aristotle had, this is from the theoretical point of view, the philosophical point of view of truth. Aristotle had observed that to say of what is that it is not, or what is not that it is. So see, which is not there, and to say what is not there as what is false. While to say what is that is, or what is not that is not, is true. Or else, if somebody says what is there as it is, and what is not there as not there, then it is true. That is the definition by Aristotle about truth. Bradley says, truth to be true must be true of something, and is something itself is not true. So truth must be true of something. That something itself is not truth, but you should say about that. That is his way of defining truth. And there are 4 theories of truth. First is the correspondence theory of truth. The correspondence theory of truth is probably the most common and widespread way of understanding the nature of truth and falsehood. Put quite simply, the correspondence theory argues that truth is whatever corresponds to reality. An idea which corresponds to reality is true when the idea which does not correspond with reality is false. So correspondence truth is truth must correspond to the reality. So which corresponds to reality is true and which does not correspond to reality is false. This is the correspondence theory of truth, which says more like reality. Second is the coherence theory of truth. The coherence theory of truth is probably second in popularity to correspondence theory, even though it often seems to be accurate description of how our conception of truth actually works. To put simply, a belief is true when we are able to incorporate it in an orderly and logical manner into a large and complex system of beliefs. Or even more simply still, a belief is true when it fits in and sets all our other beliefs without creating a contradiction. So here, that is what we use mostly, the coherence theory. Coherence theory says that which is logical and which corresponds to or which is in line with the complex system of our beliefs is called coherence theory. So it is true when it fits with other theories of our beliefs are working without creating a contradiction. So when we say something, it does not contradict other assumptions we have made, then that is true. This is what coherence theory says. So next is the pragmatic theory of truth. The pragmatic theory of truth determines whether or not belief is true or not is based on whether it has useful application in the world. So pragmatic theory says something is true if it is useful. If it is not useful, then it is not true. That is what pragmatic theory says. So as with the coherence theory, the pragmatic theory has nothing to do with what really the world is. The correspondence theory applies to what reality is. So there is not much difference between reality and correspondence theory of truth. But whereas the coherence theory and the pragmatic theory has nothing to do with, we can't say nothing to do, but it is not totally a reality, but which says, coherence theory, it says it should not contradict other beliefs. So it is more with your beliefs or your theories, other theories. When it is in correspondence with that, then it is true. And pragmatic theory here says, if it is useful to you, then it is true. And it says more, if it can be used as a model to make useful predictions about what is going to happen in the world, as a result, pragmatic truths can only be learned through interaction with the world. We don't discover truth by sitting alone in a room or thinking about it. So they assume that you are going to use it, truth. So it should correspond with other theories. It should be useful. So it should verify itself in the interaction with world. You can't sit in a room and say which is true and false. This is about the pragmatic theory. The semantic theory by Tversky has been of late probably the most influential and most widely accepted theory of truth. His theory falls into two parts. He provides first adequacy conditions, that is, conditions which may be acceptable definition of truth or to fulfill, and then provides a definition of truth for a specified formal language, which by his own standards adequate. So this theory is popular. It contains semantic theory is becoming popular, and it contains two parts. One is the adequacy conditions. It is the conditions which fulfill the criteria of truth, and then he provides the definition of a truth. So we will not elaborate on this further. So these are the four theories of truth. Then what is reality? For reality, we will go into Chandogya Upanishads, and this particular extract we are going to see is translated by Swami Krishnananda. So what he says, there was only a single reality existing in the beginning. The so-called variety is not there. It was one. It was without a second. There was nothing outside it, nothing external to it, to compete with it, to equal it, or different from it. There is no conceivable reality in this world of this nature. So in the beginning there was only one. There was nothing outside it. There is nothing internal to it. There is only one. So there is no conceivable reality in this world except that. There was one without a second. That in the beginning. Whatever be the stretch of your imagination, you cannot conceive of something outside which nothing is. So everything is one. There is no outside or nothing inside or outside. There is only one. There was only one. At least the space would be there, time would be there, you would say. But even space and time was not there. They are objects, externals, the effects of which came afterwards, after the creation, and therefore they too are negated in the case of the reality. That alone was There was absolutely no differentiation whatsoever originally. Absolute reality is completely free from all these three possible differences. One is internal differentiation or variety of a single body. Then the difference in a single species or category of the same kind. First is difference within itself, and then the difference with other of the same kind, that was not there. And third is different from the different kind of species was not there. So nothing was there. So there is an absorption of the grosser element of the earth into water element, and water element into the fire element, and the fire element into the ultimate reality, which is called Sat, pure being. It is the origin of all things from which multiplicity appears to proceed through the instrumentality of this triplicated structure of the universe, the constituent of which are fire, water and earth. Everything ultimately is rooted in being. The pure being is self of all. That is the reality. Now this reality, this is being of all things, and you are that. You too are that. So what we call this ultimate reality, you are that. Tat-tvam-asi, you are that. So this is the reality. You are the ultimate reality, the same reality which was there in the beginning. So truth and reality we have seen. The ultimate reality is the pure being, which is you, inside your heart. So with this we will end this episode. Stay with me for another episode. Subscribe to my channel and share this video. Thank you.